and welcome to my life again. Today we have a really fascinating topic. Do I say this every time, I guess, but this one is really fascinating because we'll be diving into not all just the joy of life, but also maybe some of the challenges of life. And with me today, I have Celia Ballin, and Celia is a fascinating person with deep diving potential, I think, and she reads people and the world really well. Celia, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how are things?
I tell about myself first. I have been born in Finland, and my mother is German, and my father is Finnish. I have lived in the United States as I was 15 and 16, and now I live in Germany. And so I am sort of, nowhere is my home.
We're the same.
Yes. And some people who are from different races or countries, they say, oh, I am everywhere. Everywhere is my home. And I would say, this is not so positive. I don't know where my home is. Maybe it's up there. I'm sure I have been here more times also on the earth, so it's nice if it's here too. Yes, and I'm a naturopath in Germany. And we are part of the healthcare system. Yes, I have done this work for 20 years. I work on the psychological level too, and in very deep levels. Like I do sessions where the clients go to when they're in the mother's womb or even before that, but also just normal traumatic incidents. And this theme, compassion, I love it very much, but because it's you grow so big if you practice compassion, and it makes you understand others. And so for me, it's a very spiritual thing.
And it's I think the topic we chose is excellent because it is also an art form. It's art is a good word. It's a word for creativity, for imagination, vision, but also it holds the key to the past, present, and future. Because no artist without all of these things is really ever a very good artist, I think.
Yes. We were just talking about it, that we both have maybe some difficult days, and in that way, we are both, I don't know, but a little bit like down. And for me, this time is very difficult because how people think are very different, or is very different. And for me, it's a practice in compassion, because I try to understand why others think differently than I. Because I think I'm right and they think they're right. And to understand the other one. And the compassion means for me to try to feel how the other one feels. And of course, understand too. And then I can find the deep respect to all people. And the more it's difficult to understand the other one or feel compassion, the more it's a practice in spirituality, because I have to try to step back and understand the other one. And it makes peace.
I think so. I think it's a good keyword, respect, because it's the respect goes with everything, like, but the respect, where does it start? It starts from ourselves. You know, do we respect ourselves enough to respect others? And all this kind of, what kind of questions does that raise in us? You know, it's a really good exercise. I've used it a lot in leadership as well, is that, you know, if we don't practice respect, you know, if we think that we are above others, or, you know, we are precious to the world, we are all precious to the world, but if somebody thinks that they're more precious than somebody else, then the respect really doesn't have no ground. And so we end up in conflict. And I think that's exactly what you said. It's like we live in a world of conflict at the moment, of quite a lot of conflict, because people are divided. People are they create their world of belief, and then when those worlds clash, and I saw this very dramatically in the UK, I think, is that with such heavy change like Brexit and these difficult times that have been, so you have even families who are split. And I've heard the same things from the United States. You were there. You know, you can have one side that is Republican and one side that is Democratic of the table, and they don't get along. It's so I think exactly the point is that the compassion, there is a lack in compassion.
Yes, the easier, the less developed way to react is from the brainstem. And they are, it's like, it's mine and you are the bad one. And if I fight you and I just get you out, everything will be saved and we have the solution. But that's a very primitive reflex, let's say it that way. And the higher way is trying to cultivate the humanity and trying to feel and understand the other one. And then you said in leadership, there's a very interesting way to see leadership too. The one who's up there is in charge that the people underneath are doing well. And this is a very different way to see leadership than to say, I'm better and you have to do what I do. No, I'm taking care of you. Of course, you have to maybe work for me because I pay you, but I am responsible that you have good conditions. And that also is a very interesting other thought is there the thought of, or the, oh, that's so many, the thought of, cut. Okay, the Mukasus.
Like what is it? Yeah, not self-righteousness, but the concept of right and wrong in a way is, and it's not exactly the word, but it's I don't know why it's cutting me as well. Actually, interesting, isn't it? How the world flow sometimes is. Justice.
Okay, good. You have the concept of justice. And a very interesting friend of mine who's very wise, he said, in nature is no justice. Justice is a man-made concept. And it's very interesting. In nature, you have things have a place. They have a right place, like
place
the
and
above
time
takes care of the below. And what did you say?
Place and time.
Yes. And that works. You need a working system. And like in nature, of course, if an animal is old, it gets eaten. We cannot do that because we take care of the old and the poor and the sick people. So we need justice, but justice is a very difficult concept because everyone says, oh, I'm getting too little money. And the other one says, no, I need money too, or something like that. But in compassion, if I try to understand the other one, then we can agree with things, yes. And that is humanity.
I think that's brilliant. And what's really good about what you said is responsibility. We don't talk about this enough. I talk about this a lot in many of my texts and things when I write columns for the newspapers or something like this, is that, you know, we are showing in I think in the past as well, but in particular in this time, we are showing a massive lack of understanding of responsibility and what it means. We've taken the concept of hierarchy as a way of creating society or managing society as an effective means of actually leading, and it has nothing to do with leading. It's all about, in essence, it's all about structuring rather than understanding why things happen. So what's happened then over time is that we've become so settled in supporting a system that well, that is in essence creates kings and pawns, and this is why we end up with people who always want to strive for things like power and other things without understanding what the true meaning of these words are, and what true power is, for instance, is not how big your muscle is or how much money you have or anything like that. You're powerless the more you are in that game, because you have a connection to nothing. And it's really interesting with responsibility, I think, that with what it means is that it's the duty of care that is part of your reward, and we've forgotten this aspect.
If the ones above are just using the ones below, it's not a living concept, and it doesn't make a true happiness. Like if you have a cell of a plant, it has structure, but there's life in it. And if we are not communicating and not understanding each other, the life force and the healthy life isn't in the structure. Structure as own is okay. We need also a structure. And in some way, it's good also a hierarchy, but not that one uses the other one. This makes unhappiness.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, this is I always love it when I have an opportunity to take this example, because it's one of the things that is like a mantra for me in some ways to my way of seeing the world, is that, you know, in the old times, and you know, there is a lot of stories about knights, you know, knights in shining armor and everything, and what was their role. I probably in reality misrepresented. They did pillage and they did things that they shouldn't, but I like the philosophical aspect of what knights and what the role of a knight was. It was the protector of the realm. You did have no status. You had also no income.
Okay.
And your duty was to protect the people. So it's in some ways it's the true meaning of leadership, when you can rise to a level where you can set aside your own things that drive your material instinct or something like that, and you can do things from the heart to protect the people around you, and even going past the people that are in your inner circle. And this is beautiful in a way. And how did they then survive? So because if they have no income and everything, so what was the idea? The idea was that the society around them nurtures them. So wherever they go, people look after them. And this is how you reward the knights, so that they had an extremely high quality of life without having anything that is bound to money or to things like this. And it's in the philosophical meaning, this is beautiful, because it's exactly the point where we are going so wrong, because we have no knights in society, or almost, you know, we have very few. And this is why, but we have a lot of people. So, you know, it's something I hope people now can think about, that what's happened from the situation that somebody actually thought this idea and made it real, and where is it?
Well, sometimes I have met people who are in these motorbike clubs, and in a way, some of them, many of them, have very high morals. They have very strict and high morals, and it's something. Of course, they have also problems and things like that, but it's something that I very much respect, and I don't find these high morals otherwhere. And then I was thinking, this, how you say there are knights, so we can also say I myself, in myself, have different parts.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I can be the knight for someone, and sometimes I will be the one who is being helped. But I love very much these high morals, and they have very clear structure also. And yes, it's very nice. When we started talking before we did this, we said, yes, sometimes times are a little bit difficult, and how do we survive now since the times are so difficult? Because it's not always nice and beautiful and everything is great and love and we can live. No, we cannot, even if we try, and most people try. Sometimes life is just hard, and sometimes the compassion is that you feel how difficult other people have it. Because even now, when the society is quite a lot divided, if I understand why the other people are thinking my way of thinking of the situation is terrible and they are right and I think I am right, and so yes, sometimes we cannot be full of love, and many times, these times are also times of fear, times of sometimes hopelessness, and we don't know when it will end. Times are difficult if you don't know how long something lasts. So this is also a time where we can practice a lot of compassion and getting more, I say, human again. This higher human level where you try to make peace with people and understand them even, and let them think also differently than you. I want the right to think how I think. I want to understand them, and they have the right to think how they think. And then we will try to get through these difficult times in a way together, even if we have different ways of thinking.
I think that's really good, and it's a good way of talking about compassion, because in some ways the trick with compassion also is that it's a battle. It's a constant battle between our consciousness, our awareness, our soul connection. Do we go heart first, mind first? With what is it? What do we choose? And what kind of mirror do we actually practice? Do we actually mirror ourselves at all, or very little or a lot? Makes a big difference to who can understand the concept of compassion. and the ability to see is in the observation. And it's really interesting. We were talking about curiosity in the previous panel, and I was raising it a lot because I think curiosity plays a big role. What would you be compassionate about if you were not curious about what people are offering? So this is a great link to that. Is that you actually never lose. But I think a lot of people think that they lose something if they challenge their own moral values, which is again should be kind of seen as the essence of life, to challenge your own moral values. Because they should be continuously improving.
Yes, and you learn always more. You learn always more. This curiosity, difficult word, it has a higher level. It has a higher level of energy than, for instance, sadness, anger, and curiosity enables your brain also to learn. It makes us open, curious, and you learn things, and you don't give up. It has so much energy. Yeah, I like it very much too. Yeah, it gives you the power you need to continue your way, even if it's difficult. Yes.
And I think that's in a sense probably what we kind of want to point out today, is that in life there is a journey. Like we both have had, a journey around the globe, if you could say. We've lived in many places and we've seen a lot of things. We in many ways we are misfits as well as fits, so but what the brilliance with the journey of life in some way is that the more you experience and the more you are open to those experiences, the bigger your potential to experience both the good and the bad and the dimensions between it, but you can handle it because your perspective has grown enough. You have grown enough to be able to see what others cannot see. And I think that's the thing about now, that people are locking themselves in and listening to all kind of like, you should not do this and that and so on, is that I think everybody should challenge, what is wise, what is common sense in this world is not, it's not what your neighbor says. It's not what your your politicians say. It's not what your boss says. It's what you say inside. Why are we listening to the wrong thing, to the wrong radio?
It's I think our culture doesn't teach us much to trust ourselves. We have to learn trusting ourselves. For instance, with food. If I eat this, how do I feel? If I eat that, how do I feel? If I eat a chocolate with joy, it's different than I just eat a chocolate and think, oh, I'm not allowed to eat this. And we have to learn. We have to learn if my body says, truly, I feel good, and then this action I'm taking, these thoughts, my reactions or whatever are right. Then it's right for that moment. And then in the next moment, I can have something else. But we have to learn trust ourselves. And we have always learned you have to do what the teacher says, you have to do what your parents say. If you go to the doctor and say, it hurts here, he says, here's nothing, but here is something, it's here, not there, but this is hurting me. So yes, then of course I have to respect that the doctor doesn't have the time, and I hear this doesn't look bad. So of course he also has his reasons, and I have my reasons, but this is my body and this is my life, And what I feel is right is for me right. And compassion means I try to feel what you feel, and I try to understand you. And I think it's for me it's always I have to understand things, and then I have also to feel them, and that's the right way. It's not only the brain, not only the heart, but both. And then I understand things, and then it goes. I can handle them again. I can go into actions. Yes.
Yeah, and it is about that. It's about picking yourself up and being strong and courageous, and courageous enough to be yourself is
Yes.
absolutely crucial in leadership as well. Is like, if you're a coward, you shouldn't be a leader. Stop it. Go away, because it's not for you. You will never actually have any joy in that. So it's like everything works around these same sort of patterns. And if we would listen to ourselves, we wouldn't have the wrong people doing the wrong jobs either. So, the world could cure itself and its own trauma by being more honest and listening or being more courageous, because through that we also we kind of find a flow to the divine, to this inside, and to open up our biggest potential. And if people would allow it, then we wouldn't have to be in a state of chaos and all that kind of stuff that some people may experience it as. To me, still, I think that when we are on our journey, though, and we see a lot, with balance comes balance, so with experience, with being more like open rather than horse flaps, is an ability to go through even the most difficult things. And like, we started from maybe, we had a rough day, both of us, but you can see what's happened throughout this discussion. This even picks us up, because for our we as people draw energy. We're not even in the same place, but we get it. We get it. We unleash something that helps us pick a new mode. And I think that's what people should see from this, is that this is how simple it is. But it's if you block it away, then you will be depressed and you will be this and that. And, but that's your choice. Celia, you said something about Buddha before we started. This was good, or the Buddhist culture.
Yes. What I like very much is compassion doesn't, it's just, I try to feel like you feel, but I'm not saving you. I'm just seeing and listening and understanding you. And I can help you to help yourself. But it's not like, let's say, it's not like the Christian thing. I feel you're doing bad, so now I have to save you, and I'm suffering because you're suffering. Compassion is feeling the suffering of the other one, but it's a positive feeling to that. And this is for me, a very high ideal. And to then, as we said, respect the others. Also, hard. The other one has had hard experiences, and his life is hard. So I respect that very much, that he has gone through those difficult things. And I wanted to say, I come again to that. It's so difficult, for instance, to be honest to yourself. Why? We have never learned it. What have we learned? We have learned, be a nice girl, do that what the teacher wants, what do the neighbors think, and not how do I feel. So I have to learn first to be honest. To be honest is terribly difficult. For instance, everyone knows probably you have a rotten relationship, but you have a house and you have children, but you're not happy. I'm not saying you have to separate right away, but to be honest is difficult. It's important. And then if you can have, it is very difficult in a relationship to try to understand why the other one is like that. I know women are difficult, men are not easy either. Still, we need, most of us, relationships is a very difficult topic, but if we try to have also their compassion to the other one, and you cannot always change him, and to be honest to yourself. For instance, honesty is for me, if I'm getting sick in a situation, in work, in a relationship, in something, I have to be honest and I have to say, now I have to change something. This cannot go on like this. But I'm saying it's very difficult. But you can practice a little a little thing, compassion. You maybe have the big difficulty with your relationship or with your mother or something. Then practice it somewhere else. Be nice, be kind, and show the other one that you understand him. So that way it will be easier also to handle the bigger difficulties. And here we come again to the thing that these times, part the society, part it splits. I mean, it splits the families, the society, and it's so difficult. It's so precious that we unite again, at least later, or we respect the other person's the way he thinks. So compassion is a very central thing to do. Yes,
I think that's good. I think and really good to take it back to the basics, which means that it goes back to where we are in our daily lives, and our daily lives is a great battleground, or kind of like a status quo where we are building ourselves, and and compassion is one of those tools that is absolutely crucial for us to unlock what's inside. So maybe we can say, to finish off then, that compassion is it's like it's the key to like help help others help themselves in when it's done the right way. Help others help themselves, and through that, because we're not taking charge of everything, and we're not owning everything. And I think this is the thing, that in everything that you look in the world, the one thing that is very, very wrong is that there is such a demand for ownership. And ownership is so overvalued. It's absolutely, in my books, I've always said, like, about my business, is that the day I started, I'd like to give it to move it on to the next person as soon as I find that person.
One of the best things in compassion is that it doesn't judge.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely brilliant thing to stop on and to finish this talk on. I'm sure you'll get more from us in the future, but I think this was something that opened some doors, and hopefully for many people, to think wider, be bold, don't be afraid. Come on, like you're here, you all watch these movies telling you that you have this one magnificent chance, and what do you all do? You just go to work, come home, and are complaining about how you're feeling. That's sad.
And
I honestly think so.
Anything, yes.
I think so. It's sad. It's not. Where's the attitude? Come on. We need to pick ourselves up
and be honest.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. All right. Well, it's good that we started on a sort of like lower, and now we're finishing on a laugh. So there you go.
Fine.
A lot of things can happen in a very short time frame.
Great.
Thanks, Celia. It's a pleasure as always. And
Thank you,
stay
Niklas.
well.
Okay.
And
You too.
we'll take this. We'll have another one soon.
Fine. Perfect. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.